Hey, what's going on guys, and welcome back to another DSS video. Today we'll be going over the sunny island of Tenerife, showing off all its available ports, services and secrets. We'll also be covering the other small port on the western side of Tenerife, Garachico. And since I forgot to include it, and should have really included it in the walling video, as it's basically attached to it, I'll also be covering Ruden today, though it won't have that long of a segment. So first, let's start with Santa Cruz. First, we'll cover all of its port services. Going alphabetically, we first have a bulk terminal, a charter point, a container terminal, a ferry terminal, a fishing point, a refuel station, a hover port, oil and LNG mixed into one terminal, and a shipyard. As you can see, Santa Cruz has a lot of services, making it a good place to start shipping to and from. While this one technically isn't a service, it's still a building in Santa Cruz. This is a strange looking building resembling a hangar which has the sea shadow inside. This is where you'll receive the ship after you've finished the testbed quest. Next, let's talk about the smaller port on the west, Garachico, and then we'll move on to the island's history and secrets. As I've mentioned twice now, Garachico is the smaller port on the west side of Tenerife. It's quite a lonely port, facing nothing but the open ocean for miles. Anyway, it has a few services which I'll get to now. And when I say a few, I really mean 3, because all it has is a charter point, a fishing point, and a refuel station. Right, that's everything to do with services, so let's move on to some more information about Tenerife itself. As you could probably tell, Tenerife is based off of the real life island, well, Tenerife, which is one of the Canary Islands of Spain. Santa Cruz is also a real place, known as Santa Cruz de Tenerife in real life. Sorry for that terrible accent. Also, the volcano which can be found in the DSS island of Tenerife is also present in the real life island of Tenerife. Anyway, going back to the DSS island, Tenerife is a very old island, being added on the 8th of July 2018. It's moved around quite a lot as well, first being on the east side of the map before being moved to the west. Moving on to something more interesting, let's talk about the volcano. The volcano is found on the southern part of the island and erupts every Saturday at 7 PM Greenwich Mean Time. You can find many pictures of people experiencing this event in the Bad Yacht Discord server, so I'll show some of them now. Anyway, as cool as it is, I have an island to review. As most of you may know, there is a not so hidden bunker that you can find in the middle of the two mountains. The entrance to this bunker can be found here. Now that you know how to get there, let's show off what's inside the bunker, so take a look at this tour. Once you enter the bunker, there's this very long hypnotic tunnel which takes quite a while to get through. So I'll skip the video to when we do actually get to the door. Once you've completed that very long trek, you'll find this door which says some things on it, which you can pause to read if you want. Now, when you climb these stairs, you'll find this room with some weird control terminal things, and an empty room as well. This place is like a maze, by the way, so you might miss a few things. Anyway, going through here, you'll find another empty room which leads back to the main hallway, and some barrels locked behind a chain fence. I'm not really sure why they're there, but they're probably something to do with fuel or electricity, I don't know. And then there's this door here which leads to the outside, which you can't walk through because that wouldn't make it very interesting to find. Walking back through here to the main hallway, which is not the main hallway because this is a very confusing layout, but here are some toilets. There's nothing really to them. There's toilets, you can go in them if you want. Back into the main hallway, we have more empty rooms which again lead to each other. But the most interesting part about this bunker is this giant control room here. There's a few seats with some printers, I think they are, but there's this giant screen here with some clocks, an alert, and it looks like an island of Tenerife. Not really sure why they are on Amber Alert or what this place really is, honestly, but it's really cool. And under these stairs there's a glitch I found, which you can go under the bunker. There's nothing interesting down here, I think it's simply just a glitch. Oh, I've gotten stuck. There we are. Anyway, yeah, it's a pretty interesting place which you can check out if you want to. Anyway, heading back into the main hallway, we've got some more printers here which are probably used to some sort of important work. And here's a hospital with some beds in, some more empty rooms, and this looks like either a giant meeting room or a cafeteria. And here are these server things. I don't know what they are, they look like some weird computers. But there's another door which again leads to the outside, but you can't go through it. And behind this counter here is some more empty rooms and a giant dorm room with full of beds, and some more empty rooms again. I think I'm going the wrong way. Yeah, we've just been here, my bad. But yeah, a lot of beds, and this one individual bed in the corner for some reason. It's quite weird. Here's a giant empty room with nothing in it, and more bedrooms. Well, not bedrooms, beds, you know what I mean. But yeah, more empty rooms. And down here is another door, which again leads to the outside, but you can't go through it because the only entrance is that place I mentioned earlier. Now that we've shown you all the bunker, I've got to find the way out of here. Okay, I finally made it out. But before we move on to Ruden, I just want to show you some pretty cool pictures we got while stood on top of Tenerife's mountains. Here's some of me and some people who were helping me with the video stood on top of a mountain right above the clouds, which was a really cool sight actually. And here's a really cool picture of the entire island of Tenerife while we were stood on top of the volcano at night. See if you can see that tiny yellow dot on top of the volcano. That's the three of us. I highly recommend you climb the volcano. It's a bit of a trek, but it's worth it, trust me. You can see the entire map from up there. I wish I'd gotten a picture now, but hey, that leaves it for you to find out. And also, one last thing before we move on to Ruden here is this cactus, which I was asked to show by BlackVector, who's a fellow DSS YouTuber. Highly recommend you check out his videos, they're really cool. Alright, that's everything Tenerife, so now let's move on to the small island of Ruden. Ruden can be found in the middle of the map. It's attached to Wolin and spans all the way from Wolin basically to Ushuaia, which is a long distance. However, you can technically say it doesn't, as only the sandbanks make it up there, but the sandbanks are still part of Ruden. Speaking of sandbanks, I'm sure every one of you has crashed into them at least once, be honest. Anyway, let's get to the actual island itself. It doesn't have many services, those being a charter point, a fishing point, and a refuel station. If we ignore the services, Ruden's a very scenic island featuring a big forest, a very nice looking village and port, as well as amazing views of the Ruden Sandbank shipping lane, where you can get great photos of ships going from Wolin to Ushuaia and vice versa. Alright, now let's go over some information about Ruden and its history. Ruden's mostly stayed in the middle of the map throughout its time in DSS, only being flipped when Wolin was moved to the south instead of the north. It's also remained attached to Wolin the whole time as well. Also, the sandbanks have gotten much bigger since before the map update. Ruden also makes a pretty good place for fishing as well, as there's a fishing area right through the passage. Another noteworthy thing about Ruden is this tower here, where you must stand in to watch the V1 rocket launch to receive the Aggregate 4 badge. It's not hard to miss and is located on the southern part of the island. Well, that's everything in Ruden and Tenerife. I hope you all enjoyed this video. As always, like and subscribe if you liked it. Thanks for watching and have a good one.